YouTube has given me a strike for hate speech for bringing up the Jewish influence in the world. So I will not be uploading there for another 7 days, which doesn't really matter to me because I'm on Library, 3Speak, DTube, and BitChute. So, let's continue. We have the Washington Standard report. Michael Baden, the doctor linked to George Floyd, Jeffrey Epstein, O.J. Simpson, Martin Luther King, and JFK. Doesn't this guy have a suspicious record considering all of these people that he has done autopsies on has caused lots of conspiracies and things that pop up as a result? I try to send stuff like this to people that I know and pair it with other things to try to get them to see the connection. How come it's just one guy that's doing autopsies on all of these famous people? Don't you think over the course of this many years and the fact that these deaths are all political, that you might want other opinions than just one guy? Okay, I've read about the guy who did the autopsies on Marilyn Monroe, Robert Kennedy, and he also did Elvis. If you guys look up I think he's an Asian guy, Asian doctor. He was sued for fraud. The guy, it's ridiculous with these doctors. He bragged about not doing correct procedure on some of the famous cases. Like these guys, they do get out there and talk about some of the stuff they're involved with, but check him out. I read about him while I was going through I think it was Marilyn Monroe's death by Miles Mathis, or it could have been one of his other papers. And that's why I love reading Miles Mathis, is because he brings to my attention things that I'm ignorant of, questions I don't know how to ask. I don't even know that, it just never crossed my mind that autopsies would be faked in certain scenarios, because I'm just not thinking about the amount of control that is out there, because at that time I wasn't aware that they had that much control. But when you start piecing this together and making these connections, just start asking simple questions. How come it's just up to one guy to decide how these famous people died? And you have the result of that. And then you have stuff like this. George Floyd's family petitions the United Nations to help disarm police in the United States. If you've ever studied the New World Order, if you ever studied conspiracies and have a basic knowledge of the United Nations, why it was really formed, what this flag symbolizes, it's a cage. You have the wreath going around it, which is symbolism going back to the Phoenicians. I've done some videos on that. I'll have to do some updated videos on the Phoenicians, who were the Philistines, the Canaanites in the Bible. And they use this symbolism to show you their control. So what do you have? You have the world in a target with bars, and then you have the wreaths around it. That's for the UN. It's a symbol to show you their control. All right. So why would this event be used? Think about this. His family is now calling up the United Nations, saying to come to invade the United States and disarm the police because their family member got killed. Does that make any sense in reality to the situation? Or does it seem like this event is being used to desperately take control of this country? You got riots everywhere. Things are being burned down. They're trying to disband the police. We are being eaten alive around the world by corrupt politicians who are not loyal to the people. They are loyal to the agenda, which is the UN agenda. Control the world. Look at the symbolism. Check it out. It's fascinating stuff. And we could scroll through some headlines here from the Gateway Pundit. I enjoy analyzing the Gateway Pundit because the headlines he puts out are just kind of straight to the point, and he's pretty accurate on most of his stories. So I like to go here. Zero Hedge it's okay over at Zero Hedge. Some of their information is controlled, but just to scroll over some of the headlines here, let's see what's going on. Antifa domestic terrorists take over a 6 square block section in Seattle. Set up security watch. Call for armed volunteers. They're just going to start taking over little sections here and there. It's crazy what's going on. How does this guy keep his job? Days after violent Black Lives Matter protests, riots, and lootings, Dr. Fauci expresses concern over protests spreading COVID-19. This is what they're going to do. After these protests start to lose steam or get shut down by the National Guard, what is the media going to come out with next? They're going to say the resurgence, wave number 2 of COVID-19 is here. And do you want to know why it's here? It's here because everybody was out protesting and getting around each other, and now the virus is spreading. Oh my gosh. Second wave, keep everything shut down until the election. Keep crashing the economy. Keep destroying Donald Trump so that they can present the solution, which could be Michelle Obama, it could be Hillary Clinton, it could be a wild card. In my opinion, if they have control over Mark Cuban, he would be, I wouldn't call it a slam dunk, but he would attract more people than Hillary Clinton would. But anyway, Judge Sullivan's shadow prosecutor, John Gleeson, files his brief, calls the DOJ dismissal of George Flynn a gross abuse of prosecutorial power. So what are these guys trying to do? The Flynn case is instrumental in their Russiagate narrative, and it's completely fallen apart. What's going on right now is ridiculous. The judge in the case, Judge Sullivan, the prosecution has dropped the case. The judge is there to preside over a case. If they drop the case, he has no choice but to dismiss it. But he's using legal loopholes to try to get his own lawyer. He's paying a lawyer to come in and say, nope, this guy's guilty. I don't care that you dropped the case. That would be like me suing you for whatever, and then I just decide to drop the case. I decide to drop the lawsuit. Okay? And then the judge points at you and says, no, I don't care that he dropped the lawsuit. I'm going to continue this lawsuit. I'm going to hire my own lawyer to continue this lawsuit, even though I walked away and said, what? Understand what's going on. It's crazy what's going on. After imposing authoritarian lockdown orders, Michigan Governor Whitmore joins radical call to defund the police. Why are all these governors and politicians coming out here to say defund the police? They're trying to cause chaos. We are under attack by these people. This is a war going on. It is very important that everyone needs to wake up to this. It's just, we need to start waking each other up. I've kind of done being patient with certain people. When they text me, I'll text them stuff about what's going on, and I sent out that video, the Plague episode on Dead Zone. If you guys haven't seen that, you got to check it out. In 3 minutes, that show from 2005 lays out the entire narrative for COVID-19. It's ridiculous. You got to start showing people this stuff and being like, just have them ask questions. Hey, what do you think this is all about? Why do you think this is going on? How come when the Russia narrative was failing, they came up with the Ukraine narrative and they tried to impeach him on that? And then when that failed, we had this huge virus going on. And then after that started to fall apart, we have huge riots going on over the death of a porn star who was murdered by a homosexual porn star who just happens to have the last name Chauvin. Chauvinist. Chauvin. You're a male chauvinist. Doesn't this walk completely in line with liberal narratives? Oral arguments in the General Flynn case will be live streamed Friday morning on the DC Circuit. What? Really? Man, we're going to have some ridiculous clips from that. Emails released by FBI last Friday show Obama's Ben Rhodes and Jake Sullivan bragging we're liars and lying masterminds. That's exactly what's going on. These people are manipulators. They're here to lie to the public, to create narratives that are not true. Another conspiracy theory debunked: Officer Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd, is not a taxicab driver on TV. Okay. Breaking exclusive. Obama new Friday's document release shows assessment of Hillary's emails performed by ODNI, NSC, and State Department in October 2009. Did you guys know that they're going through the Hillary email case? Hillary Clinton is going through testimonies right now. Not her personally, her lawyers are. All of a sudden these riots are popping up, and the email scandal that's still been going on since the last election is now going through Senate hearings. I'm sure that's a coincidence. The UK's former head of MI6 is 2 months behind. The Gateway pundit now agrees China coronavirus created in Chinese lab. This virus came out of a lab in Wuhan, apparently. This is economic warfare. This is biological warfare. If China is the one that did this, and I don't necessarily think it was China, it was the people who control everything. They use China for their purposes. They have the government that they want established in China, and they're trying to spread that to the rest of the world. Former Virginia governor recorded, and to get that done, they have to destroy the United States because the United States is a threat to them. They can't do it militarily. So what are they going to do? They're going to do it politically. So they're going to bribe officials. They're going to get their influence in. I think this has always been the plan with these people. So they've been transferring the wealth to China for decades with all of these stupid trade deals. But now that Donald Trump has put a stop to those trade deals, which has been destroying our country and sending all of the jobs overseas, well, they got to do something. They can't just stand there and watch it. Well, if they want to retain the power that they've been gaining, they have to go to war. They can't do it militarily, so what are they going to do? They're going to drop viruses. They're going to try to destroy the economy. They're going to use their influence with the politicians in the United States to cause chaos, cause riots, win the 2020 election by any means necessary, or else they're going to lose power. And, man, the crimes and corruption would blow your mind. Former Virginia governor recorded saying Democrats prefer Biden stay in the basement. They're going to switch this guy out in a couple months. The reason why they have Biden out here for so long is because he has that scandal with Burisma. So if he gets arrested, they can say, whoa, 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 he's running for president. And now the president's DOJ has arrested Joe Biden. It's because he's a threat. So they can't arrest him yet, but he also can't win. So what they're going to do is they're going to drop him at the last minute. They're going to switch him out with somebody else. And it has to be at the last minute so that there isn't enough time to criticize the new person they're bringing in, or to do any type of effective campaigning. They're just going to switch them out and be like, oh, here's your choice, and we're a couple weeks away, so just vote here. And then they have other things planned. Councilmember uses key to allow protesters and rioters into Seattle City Hall. There are groups of people out there who do nothing but put their lives into politics. Most people in the world, they don't like politics. They don't like getting involved in it. It's boring, and it's made to be like that. But there are those out there who get into these groups, and it's what they do for a living. And they work for these deep state organizations, and they are passionate about bringing communism to the country, doing all these terrible things. Stunning development. George Floyd and Officer Derek Chauvin bumped heads at nightclub where they both worked. Oh, we're just now finding this out. Yeah, they worked at a nightclub together. What a coincidence. Leftists topple Krista, and they're both porn stars. What a coincidence. The guy's name is Chauvin. What a coincidence. Leftists topple Christopher Columbus statue, toss it in lake in Richmond, Virginia. They're tossing statues in the river everywhere. Outrageous mob gets another scalp. CrossFit CEO resigns after George Floyd remarks led to gym owners and brands to cut ties. Man, getting wrecked by the liberal mob. It is real. You cannot say anything outside the narrative or you're just going to get swapped. Roger Stone reaches out to Gateway pundit is outraged. CNN given an award by White House Correspondents Association with criminal activity. I don't really know everything that's going on with this Roger Stone case, because it seems to me that Roger Stone was a plant in the Trump campaign and wasn't necessarily working for the best interests of Trump. Shame on you, you have lost it. You're a dinosaur. Fireworks. Cornel West erupts after fellow leftist calls him out on defunding the police. And here they go. We're gonna get our two black specialists on, and they're gonna argue about all the racial stuff going on, which is racist. NPR contributor pushes a modern-day book burning, removing books by whites. More insanity. Well, doesn't that mean they should eliminate the that book by Charles Darwin? Which, if you guys know about evolution, here is the full title of that book. This is Charles Darwin's book that put us on the path to evolution. The origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. Doesn't that sound a little racist? Shouldn't these liberals be running around with this book saying the full title? They might get a different reaction. Peaceful protest. Trapped looters bust out of store window and over wood barrier to escape Long Beach store. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens when you allow lawlessness.
Long Beach.
Right,
not sure what the business is that was being
right daylight, cops are right there, and these people are just busting out.
Look at that. Look at that. This is bizarre.
It's unreal. Look at their
breaking through right there.
They're trying to escape.
Trying to escape. They might be taking it.
Look at that. This is insane. I cannot believe what I'm looking at. I don't know if there are officers inside the store trying to apprehend people, but there are officers that stood there outside the store as people fled. These are folks trying to flee. Look at that, still grabbing it. You know, now 50 feet away, not even from that, this guy that just grabbed up all those clothes.
Look, that lady went to go stand in front of them to protect them from the police, who aren't going to do anything. But this is how bad it gets. The white woman who believes that these people are so victimized that they should be allowed to loot everything.
Grabbed up all those clothes.
I'll end it right here, and we will pick up in the next one. So thanks for watching. God bless.